Hello friends and welcome back to the Stream of Annihilation. I am Anna Prosser-Robinson, and of course we are back. We have Mike Mearls with us, my co-host Kelly Link, but we are welcoming to the stage for the first time Hydro74, who did some fantastic art for Dungeons & Dragons for a special edition cover of Xanathar's Guide to Everything. How did it feel to have that requested of you?
I signed contracts, so I'm not allowed to talk about this.
Well, tell us, for people who might not be too familiar with it.
Am I allowed to talk about this?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
I don't want to get sued.
Well, it'd actually be more the Xanathar is actually the one who contacted us.
Right.
And asked us to reach out to you.
Oh, yeah,
So that your real threat is getting disintegrated or turned to stone.
Or the wrath of Shauna.
Who's probably, definitely scarier
Yeah.
than the Xanathar.
So, all right, what was the question?
Well, let's start here. For people who may not be too familiar with you or your art, give us a little background on who you are, what you do, what kind of art you make.
Oh. I've been doing a digital art for about, I don't know, like 20-some years. Work with Star Wars, Xbox, obviously D&D, a little bit of Wizards.
You're so nonchalant about it.
I mean, I don't know. Google me, I guess. So.
Well, give me the background then of your background with D&D. What experiences have you had with D&D before making this cover?
Oh, so it was actually quite fascinating because early on I got an email from Shauna, and she's one of the creative directors over at Wizards and D&D, and she asked if I want to be involved in Volo's Guide. I was like, holy shit. So, because the thing is, like, when you work, there's only rare opportunities when certain clients contact you. And I always kind of looked at D&D as being like this kind of a, not literally, but like this mythical beast that was almost impossible to get in because the artwork was always phenomenal. The people that they hired to do stuff and the people that they pulled in were always this top level. And I never really considered myself to be on that par by any means. But at the end of the day, I was just sitting there just kind of like in the nervous kind of like little twitch, if you will. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll give it a shot. And I didn't really know much of it, so we did the Volo's Guide to Everything. It was a 1 per case. And I didn't really realize the outcome until I went to one of the gaming stores, because I was just going to go and see if they maybe had it, kind of go and be like, yeah, I did that. And I walk in, they're like, wait a minute, you're that Hydro guy? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh, you need to sign this book for me. I'm like, what? So it was actually quite fascinating. And then they contacted me for the second book, and then there was like a few other little things with Dragon Plus and of that nature. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things where I'm still literally on cloud 9 because D&D, even though I never really played, never really been active, I've always known of it. I've had friends that played, and so I'd always watch, but it's a very rare opportunity, so I'm just humbled just to be part of it. And honestly, too, to meet people like, Chris here, then obviously Nathan, Greg Tito, and obviously working with Shauna and Emmy over at D&D. I mean, it's like a second family.
Absolutely. I mean, all of us are kind of like, we've been here for 12... Yeah, you're doing great. Yeah. We've been here for 12 hours yesterday. This is the morning. I feel like I'm like a kid on Christmas morning, but not even just in the sense you would think. We're all exhausted and our energy is just going every which way, and we're like, D&D, D&D.
We've had those 14-hour D&D campaigns, right, where you're just there, you get there at noon, and then you're there till 3 a.m. somehow. When you get into D&D, you just kind of zone out, and you go into a different world, in my opinion.
Yeah. But speaking of art, you made this alternate cover, the special edition cover. Can you tell us anything about it, what it looks like, what it was like to make it, the inspiration, anything at all? I know you don't want to spoil it.
No. It was a fun process because, so funny story, she sent it over and she gave me like the description. She's like, okay, we're going to want this and this and this and this and this. It was this huge list. I'm sitting there going, what? It's like, you see my work, right? Because I can do this, but I can't really do that. And so we were going back and forth. And so I gave it like a few weeks because we had plenty of time. And I emailed her back. I'm like, okay, I started. I'm really confused. And, Shauna being Shauna, she's like, well, let me simplify this, make it easier for you. I don't want you to be confused. I'm like, I'm not confused. I'm not. I don't know anything about this world. I mean, it's one of those things you never want to admit to a client that you don't know anything about their product. But I was kind of like, well, on Google, I was, But at the end of the day, I was like, well, any help would do. She's like, okay, we want like goldfish. I'm like, okay. And it's like, maybe I don't know. It's like just something goldfish. So I started putting stuff together. I'm like, well, if it's in a circle, let's make it look beholder-ish. And she's like, yeah, that works. I'm like, you're not exactly creative directing. So, we went back and forth, and then eventually started falling into place because it was definitely a departure of styles. And so, because normally what I do tends to be a little bit more aggressive, I guess you could say. And so, I was trying to do a little bit more gradients, a little bit Art Deco-y and little things of that nature because, it's what we talked about. And as we're going on and building it, we got to a point where I'm like, all right, so we have all this, and then there was like an extra eye. She's like, there can only be 10 eyes. It's a beholder, only 10. I was like, but that's a symbol. That's not really a part of it. She's like, no. Take one off. Take one off. I'm like, okay. And then later on, she's like, oh, there's an eyeball behind the goldfish. I'm like, yes. I try to do what I can. But no, it was a fun process. Went back and forth, and then I saw the original artist's. Wish I knew his name. Who was the original one that did the main cover?
I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Oh, but he's so good. So he's sending over stuff,
fantastic.
and like I'm feeling intimidated because I'm like, give me just Art Deco, you know. So, but no, it was a fantastic process, but it took a little while.
Absolutely.
So lots of back and forth, but it was rewarding.
Well, I'm really excited to see it. We all are. I mean, I think all of us, most of us at least, are collectors. When we get into D&D, we want all of the special things, so we will definitely keep our eyes open. Thank you so much for your time to sit here and chat with us. And we have lots more coming up today. We have games coming up. We have High Rollers and Dragons Friends coming up later today. But next up, we have Matt Mercer, who's guest DMing for Girls Guts Glory, and they are going to play right now.